Dummy Switch Pod. We're here and we're back.
Yes,
we're
sir.
here and we're back. That unfiltered rugby chat. How are you, Chris?
Yeah, I'm good, Quarters. How you doing?
Slightly hungover, but I'm good. Let's get into this one. A team playing like they were hungover. The Pumas versus the Sharks. Friday night down in.
Oh.
Let's get into this one.
Mm.
I don't know. Do you want to go first? Maybe your takes on the Sharks.
Look, I think this one is really, that's really what I wanted to get into. I think this one is really, it's a cut and dry for me because, look, the Pumas just gifted the tries that game. You know,
Yeah.
there's nothing more to it than the Pumas. If you look at all the tries, honest, only two of them that I can say were constructed. You know, the one from the Mall, I feel that one was a bit constructed. And then Sanele Nohamba's try, it was a well-worked try because, you know, he saw the pillars went there on defense and he took that gap and he went and he scored. Everything else was just gifts. It was freaking Christmas was early for the Sharks, you know, gifts all around by the Pumas. You know, I don't know. Look, you just can't put your finger on it. Like you said, they look like they were the ones that were hungover on Friday night, you know. So, yeah, look. And from that, I think the only thing you can say is, you know, Spoon Nkosi coming off the bench, nice try that he just stole. Yeah, exactly. You know, Sanele Nohamba for me, again, another good performance. Then overall, the Sharks pack just doing what they had to do against the team that wasn't there to play. You know,
for me, I mean, okay, we look at it front row particularly. I like Liam Hendricks, but he's a bit lightweight. He was against Thomas du Toit. You're looking for him to dominate. He couldn't dominate. You know, it was a bit unfortunate. A lot of the problem stemmed from the fact that Pumas didn't have a 10 on the field. Devon Williams was playing 10. They had Tapuo Mafura at the back there, who was, let alone hungover, he was drunk at the back there. Didn't know what was going on. Ball was bouncing all over the place. You can see, I don't know him as a fullback.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know how accustomed he is to playing that position, but he let the ball bounce twice. I don't think that's a fullback. I think maybe they should have gone with Devon Williams still at 15. Maybe bring the scrum half to play 10, because I think that would have worked out better for them. I've looked at the team sheet for this week. They've kept the same backline. So, I mean, it's on them at this point. Sharks, only thing I have to say, you know, Kramer, he gave Ox some trouble there. Okay. And, you know, coming up against some good tight ends, I think is going to be a problem. I think when Kramer went off the field, Ox got two scrum penalties. You know, it just showed that once they took that man out, Sharks came right. I think the game just followed the same cycle of penalty, maul, try. Penalty, maul, try. So there's nothing else really for me to say on that one. Even with the Nohamba try, I think that also stems from, it was that 10 channel that was the problem. So I think if they had their 10 there, a lot of their woes wouldn't have been there on the day.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been such a bad scoreline, you know, because quite frankly, it was a big scoreline at the end of the day, you know, and yeah, I guess again, it's also the disjointedness of the team, you know, that's what you can attribute that performance to, you know, but it's definitely a performance for them to forget and try their best to actually move on from that. You know, they have a chance this weekend against a team, maybe we could say similar strength against the Griquas, but we'll talk about them shortly. But
yeah,
overall,
let's get into that
Sharks,
one actually. Let's get into that one. Griquas versus the Lions. That one was cut short. Lions were lucky. God. They were lucky to creep ahead at that time. I mean,
Yes.
you could see that they haven't been playing rugby for a while, and it showed that the Griquas have been
Yeah.
playing rugby for a while. That definitely showed in the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. And look, for me, I gave the Lions by 30. I
And you
expected the
never know
Lions
if
to
it
come
went on
there,
longer.
go down. Yeah, the thing is, I feel like particularly as the first half went on, and a little bit of that second half, the Lions were starting to sort of find their momentum, find their groove, and really we're going to start turning the screws on the Greekers. So we'll never know what the ultimate final score would have been had it been a full 80-minute game. But based on just on that 40 or 47 odd 48 odd minute game, one thing again, you could say Greekers, you take your hat off to them because they did well to put the pressure on the Lions early on, take the points that were available, and really have that big lead. I think for them, the lesson now is going to be, I think it's something that we've said throughout Super Rugby Unlocked, is the consistency of them being able to back that up, because all around it was they look like a very different team. The way that they were going about their business against the Lions, they certainly wanted to make a statement, and I feel based on that let's say 30-minute sort of performance from them, they have something to work from. The only thing for them is just going to be about consistency.
Yeah, they've got a few guys that caused a handful. Cater he's a tricky guy to bring down.
Yes.
The scrums it was a good contest, but as soon as the Lions got the hit, it was over from there.
Yeah.
But
Also kind of feel like,
Dre was finding it hard to get the hit, but once he settled, they did well.
Yeah, but I also kind of feel like, I think just overall, I think we've been saying this about Super Rugby Unlocked as well, from Super Rugby Unlocked, and even during the Tri-Nations competition, the refereeing, there's a lack of consistency across the board from a refereeing perspective in the scrums, because it's always down to the referee's interpretation. We as supporters watching, you might see a different picture and you'd expect the penalty to go the one way and it doesn't, and for me, it's just, the number of reset scrums, it's really becoming a pain, because it's just chewing up the clock, and I just feel like referees need to just make decisions, off the cuff to get this sorted out immediately, in the games. But, credit to the Lions for fighting back. I think
they suffocated them in the end. I feel like you can't win if you don't have the ball. Griquas didn't have the ball at some stage there. So, they were just starved of possession. The refereeing, as you said, a bit suspect at times, where from the kickoff and then a bit of chirping, and eventually you're on your own try line. So I mean, I don't know if that's exactly fair refereeing to do that. Kasende and Skosan were getting a bit chippy.
I love that little tussle.
Yeah. Skosan in the end was he was taking the mick in the end, diving on his wing. Like, are you gonna let me dive like this on your wing?
I saw, I think, the first try that Skosan scored, after that little scuffle, reading his lips, he was like, what now? And look, it's good for the games. It's good to see the backline players, getting involved.
It's good to see. And Skosan, you might think he's a pretty boy, but he's got the fight in him. He's got the fight. And
yeah,
you must remember, that's a Springbok. That's a Springbok.
It's good to see the
him a
passion.
lesson on the day. Yeah, it's good to see.
It's good to see the passion. I think Kasande found himself in no man's land too many times as well.
Yeah, he was caught offsides a number of times.
Yeah, then just the defensive alignment from the Greek was, I think, again, I'm skeptical about saying this, because I feel like we've been here before with the Greekos, where we've said this about them, that, they have something to build on. They just need to tweak a few things here and there, and then they don't back it up. So I think for me, it's just a matter of, can they back it up? And then from backing it up, can they take their play to the next level, from the defensive game, growing that? Because they were playing into the wind, in that game, in that first half. And I feel like a guy like Tinus de Beer geez, he was phenomenal in the way that he managed that game. He was making sure he was marshalling them around, around the pitch, getting them into the right field position, and again, the work of their forwards as well, from a defensive point of view. There's some good things that are there within this Griquas team. For me, it's just, can they put it together for 80-minute performance? And that is still to be seen. A team like the Lions, if they do get an 80-minute performance, team that like the Lions, I think they're just brewing, and it's going to click very soon for them. So, I think it's just building that team cohesion. It's only a matter of time, in my view, for the Lions before they click. And there's no better opportunity than this weekend against Western Province, But I think we'll also get into that game as well.
Yeah, let's talk about Western Province at home against the Bulls. They were dominant in the lineouts and the scrums. Schickerling was, he was doing his thing there. He was breaking up mauls, stealing lineouts. He really imposed himself. Kits off at the scrums. Your dominance in those two areas of the game. It's unfortunate that you lose, and it's sort of you've got to blame yourself. You've got to really blame yourself, and you've got to look inside and say, what's going on, guys? What's going on here?
Yeah, because there were some good flashes, I mean, even Sia coming back, you could see that it did a lot for them as well. They looked like a better team.
He was putting in, Dwayne Vermeulen was under pressure at the base of the scrum, and Sia was coming through and hitting him hard.
Yeah, exactly. And he was putting him under pressure. And he was there. He was showing himself as the captain, and you could see it was a real matchup. Because Dwayne Vermeulen hardly made it. I don't think he made any meters off the back of the scrum. Of the pickup. And considering they were also under pressure, so they did well. I mean, Sia even got a penalty, a steal in that respect. In one of the plays where he, tackle assist by Herschel Yankees, and Sia showed daylight, back on the ball, got the penalty. And for us, it's good signs, to see the captain back. I just think Western Province, they really need to figure out, more so outside of their identity, they really need to find the killer blow, because they had ample opportunity once they took the lead, and at one stage they were a man up for a good chunk of that game, and they still couldn't put it away. And for me, that's a big concern, and that goes to the character of the team, the sort of culture that's in there, and that's something to look for them. Like you say, they need to look at themselves, and they need to look within, because on the other side of it, the Bulls were a man down. Chris Smith was missing kicks all game, and then being a man down, they were under pressure. Yeah, this guy steps up.
Last 10 minutes, he had a very big last 10 minutes. Line break, cross kick, try assist, and he had the conversion to seal it for them. So he had a very big last 10 minutes. He really turned it on.
Yeah, exactly. And look, overall, let's be honest. I feel like Damian Willemse, I can't say that he had a bad game. To be honest, I think he was solid enough.
I would say so. Those missed penalties were big.
Okay, outside of the missed penalties
and conversions,
I think he was just solid enough, to show that his form is there. Still a question mark on whether he'd be an international fly-off right now in the next season. I think Herschel Yankees as well. He also, he's stepping up. For me,
he played better. Yeah, he played better. My thing is, I felt he lacked confidence in that. A lot of the time, a scrum half with more confidence would have sniped around the ruck. There was space there, especially you're camped on the Bulls try line for how long.
Yeah.
If normally if it's Mone van der Berg, you're gonna see him take that chance. Yankees, he didn't take that chance. I mean, he looked sharp. I mean, even for that one chance that they had through the dummy, they ended up getting the ball wide. It got to what's his name? The Blitzbok wing.
Angelo Davids.
Angelo Davids, forgetting his name. It got to him and open try line. He just couldn't seal the deal.
Yeah.
You know, even for him, you know, he's been putting in the performances, but at that moment, that's what separates top tiers of players.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, if you're talking about the wingers, you know, you look at Angelo Davids. Look, you could say he had a solid performance. He just missed the icing on the cake. But then you look at Currie, Arendse, and my goodness,
Currie, Arendse, the
counter attack, his defensive work, and his work at the breakdown, because there's one where he made the tackle, he got back up, competed for the ball spilled out, got hacked forward, you know, and it put the Bulls on the front foot, you know, to the point where there was they got a penalty, you know, from it was just Honor Buerta, you know, chasing down. For me, you look at a player like Currie Arendse, I think he's taking his opportunities, you know, and my goodness, I really see him developing further and becoming a potential for Springbok selection, to be honest, because he's got the package, even fielding the high balls. He's just had a very good game, you know, and I really like the look of him as a player, you know. And again, you have to commend the Bulls for staying in the fight, because any other team could have really, you know, a man down away from home, could have really just wilted at the end, and the Western Province could have run away with it, and they didn't allow that. So credit to the Bulls in that regard for pulling that one out the fire.
It was great defense from them. Great defense. They can see they've got that winning mentality, and I think tactically also there were less aimless kicks from them, and there was more running with determination, running with purpose.
Yeah, and for me as well, I think one guy that also stood out for me from the Bulls side was Trevor Nyakane, because he was immense defensively, and then even in the scrums,
they took they took Trevor off for blood, and in that time, Kitsov punished myself on him over. So it just goes to show what you were saying about Trevor Nyakane.
Yeah, his value to that Bulls team, because when he came back from that blood replacement, he came back, I think he made a tackle, and then he also got a turnover, you know, and it was at a point where Province were looking almost like they were building momentum, and his turnover helped stop that. And it's players like that keep your team in the game. And for me, I'd say he was immense. I know Yonder Augustus got man of the match. Yes, he made some carries. He was carrying the ball more often than he has been throughout Super Rugby Unlocked.
He looked energized.
He was more present. So, you know, I can't really argue with that. But at the same time, I'd say, you know, it's very rare for the losing side to have the man of the match. You know, for me, when you look at guys like Trevor, the impact moments that a guy like Trevor had, as opposed to a Yonder Augustus, you know, it's night and day for me. But again, like I say, credit to the Bulls. They to pull that out the fire, you know, credit to them. All good.
Province, also, one thing I noted was with them, you've got a man extra, and they kept going for long balls at the line out. It just didn't make sense. Then even the short one to Kitsov, it just does not make sense. You know, you're that man up, you want to keep it tight. You know, even thinking of going for scrums, but it's just the tactical lack of awareness from them. You know, it just wasn't great.
And I think, you know, it's also the calls that have got to come from the guys in the back line as well. You know, in the sense of the leaders, your 10 has got to be a general. You know, to be able to say to be in there, to have the confidence to say to the forwards, listen here, you know, let's keep it tight. Let's pull these guys in, you know, so that we can have the space out wide. And it just seems like, like you said, the tactical awareness, that thought process wasn't there, because, you know, had they opted for scrums, for example, you know, it means that loose forward has got to come off, you know, and the prop is going to be on the field. There's more space to play around close to the scrum, you know, for 8-9 pickup, or just a 9 breakaway to the winger, just things like that. It just seems like that
like
creativity
they were
is not.
already under pressure. They were already under pressure at the scrums, and then they're down a man, and then you don't want to scrum. It just doesn't make
Yeah,
sense to me. It
really
doesn't make
doesn't.
sense. Also, I mean, you look at the try that Arendse scored. Cornel Hendricks, he cut up the centers there.
Yeah, you did.
So much so that guys have been dropped, along with Ruan Nel coming in and making his sort of impact more lively in the centers. His intercept, I'm not sure if that was onside. Some of the reffing in this game as well was.
I actually wanted to touch on that. I honestly feel, to be honest, to some degree, while I was watching that game, I kind of felt like this referee was blowing the Western Province into the game. You know, there was just some calls were just too. They're just too 50-50, you know, and it's almost like, okay, where's the clarity on the laws? You know, I remember, I just don't remember which play it was. It was a specific turnover. His hands started on the grass. His hands were literally on the grass, and he raked his hands back. And on other days, that's a penalty against the defending team. And this time around, it was not. It was a penalty to Western Province. Then there was one where Steven Kitsoff is part of the tackle, and he doesn't show daylight. For me, from what I saw, he doesn't show daylight. He's still part of the tackle. He latched on the ball from the start of the tackle, and that was awarded a penalty turnover. And like I say, it's just there hasn't been consistency. I don't know.
He
Going
got
too much
numbers wrong at the lineout. He got numbers like, what is this now? Can't count.
Even I mean, even the red card situation, I had a laugh when, you know, clearly the number one of the Bulls is a white man, Jacques van Rooyen, and number three of the Bulls is a black man, Trevor Nyakane, and the television match official says 3 blue, and I was like, wow, okay, so basically you don't know who's playing, you know, you're not watching, you know, you didn't get the team sheet, so it appears, and you're not watching. Yes, fine, he corrected himself, but to make that mistake, you know, in the first place on live TV, that's sometimes it is inexcusable, you know, because surely these guys are experienced enough and they've done this, you know, countless times to get things like that right, you know, at the end of the day. But hey, it's another week of rugby.
Yeah, for me, you know, Province, looking back, especially at halftime, you would have thought they would have needed to build a lead already by then. So even after the red card, it's unforgivable what went on.
It is.
The red card, I can't complain. I think it was a red.
Yeah, look, the law. See, the law is the law, you know. But the funny thing for me is that in the earlier game, I think it was All Blacks Argentina playing. There was a clean out where the arm of the All Blacks player struck the head of the Argentinian player, and that was given as a yellow. The mitigating, or the referee said mitigating circumstances. The guy was low and he was going for a clean out. The interesting thing for me is that the guy that was refereeing the game is actually a former player, being former Red scrum off, Nick Berry. And my question would be, is that should we not have more, or look to have more former players being officials? Because yes, as much as it is a dangerous tackle and things like that, in some situations there are mitigating circumstances, and it needs
there's a certain ex-player that's a ref that played for the Stormers in Western Province that is terrible. So I don't know if I can back you up on that one.
Oh well, I know who you're talking about, and I think with that individual,
they fast-tracked him, and
exactly,
yeah,
it's not a good result, and how you see that it's not a good result is he's not consistently in charge of games. He's either an assistant or you know, is running touch, but hey, you know, I think that's something to consider for the future, you know, long-term sort of referee planning and for the good of the game, because we need more input from players themselves, you know, because yes, in a situation like that, for guys, you know, at the ruck and, you know, he's facing a certain way and you're going in for the clean, where in the mechanics of the clean out in rugby, where your hand's supposed to go, You know, or that's the question that needs to be asked. Where are your hands supposed to go? You know, or does that mean now I need to take my hands away and then the clean outs are just with the shoulder? Then it becomes another situation that there are no arms in the clean out. You know, it's things to think about. I'm just saying, I'm just throwing it out there that, you know, World Rugby, SA Rugby, and again, I repeat what I said, I think last week, is that I feel like SA Rugby has missed an opportunity with the COVID situation, the Super Rugby unlocked, and the Currie Cup to actually trial things, you know, from a laws perspective and refereeing perspective, for the good of the game, in order to grow the game. But alas, quarters.
And let's get into this upcoming week. Pumas versus Griquas. Let's talk about this one. Like I said, they've got the problems at 10, and they continue to back Williams at 10, and Tapua Mafura still at fullback. So clearly they have not learned from their mistakes, and they've had a week's training, so we'll see the outcome. For me, even Williams, the intercept, you can see he's not used to playing first receiver. So to your fullback's problems, it's also to your 10's problems, where he's just not used to being first receiver, but they've kept him there. Pumzile, he was getting some go forward ball there. Makondwana, Landsberg is joining him at 7, who normally in the lock position. I think, you know, good player. We'll see how that goes. Griquas, dangerous back 3. They've got a proper fly half. I think the proper fly half is what's gonna, you know, count on the day. And I've got Griquas winning this one away from home. I'd say by a good 8 points. Tinus De Beer, that's a proper 10.
Yeah, I agree with you. I can't disagree with your analysis there, Quarters. You know, the only thing I can disagree with is the scoreline. You know, I think we've been wrong a lot. You know, so I'll go conservatively and say Griquas by 3. I think the Pumas at home, they grow another leg, an extra leg at home. So
yeah,
I'd say
which is true.
I'd say Griquas by 3 points on that one.
I'm saying 8 because I'm counting missed penalties and conversions. That's how I got to 8. Disclaimer.
Yeah. No, that's all right. That's all right.
Next
our
one.
Opinions.
Yeah. Next one. Bulls versus the Cheetahs. Manjezi starts in this one. Papier and Monet Steyn. Steyn is back. Interesting, in the back 3, they've done a bit of a change around. Van Vuren, who was the scrum off at the Lions, who looked promising at one stage, is now playing wing for them. They've moved David Creel onto the other wing, and they've got Arendse playing at 15. So, I mean, it's interesting. Arendse has been doing so well, and you're moving him into 15. David Creel, you could argue, did well at 15 as well. So,
yeah,
why change something that's not broken? You can argue, but we'll see how it goes. I'm happy Manjezi gets that start. Ambrose Papier, every week he just seems to be falling. I don't know. For me, it seems to be falling further behind.
Yeah, he does seem to be falling further behind, but this game is his chance. There's no doubt about it. You know, he gets to start, and based on his performance, he can keep Ivan van Zyl on the bench longer in this game. You know, because that's what Van Zyl has been doing. You know, Van Zyl has been backing his selection up by performing well enough so that Papier only gets about 10, 15 minutes off the bench. You know, and Papier's got to, you know, return that in kind, you know, and do the same and lift his performance.
It's got to be difficult for him, though. You were touted as the next Springbok golden boy, and then complete fall off.
Yeah, but I think for him, he needs to put all of that aside and realize that, okay, he's got an experienced Springbok at 8 playing with him. Even that back row of the Bulls, it's all Springboks, you know, and he's got a Springbok at 10. He's got a Springbok at 12. You know, so he should put all of his doubts aside and must just back himself in this game and just go out there and play his game. I think with this selection, for me, it looks like the Bulls weather dependent. the Bulls will be probably looking to move this ball around against the Cheetahs or to match the
Yeah.
Cheetahs, because the Cheetahs, for me, we all know the Cheetahs, they like to move that ball around. And
dangerous back three. They've got Reno, Smith, Speckman, and Blomikeys this week.
Yeah, dangerous back three, and they've got the center combination that can actually get the ball to them, because Nisi's got beautiful feet, good hands. Francis Dane, we know what we're going to get from him. He's gonna give them go forward, and he's also going to be an option from the kicking game perspective as well. So they're definitely going to be looking to move the Bulls around and get around them. And this is gonna, weather dependent, this should be a cracker of a game in my view. Jandre Rudolph, he gets a shot going back to Loftus. You've got Victor Skekete starting there for the
Cheetahs. At 7, that's interesting.
Andy Sanzela, I feel he's been solid enough as well. Whether he can lift to have big moments in the game, that's what I'm looking for from him, is that, right, now he's got the consistency in selection. Now it's a matter of him having more of an influence and a say in the game, in my view. It'd be interesting to see what their front row does.
Yeah.
Because this is going to be, I think, a very interesting battle up front, because the Bulls have also made changes in their front row. So it'll be interesting to see how that's going to go.
They've got Bowen Fenter up there, and I rate Bowen Fenter. I rate him. And Mchunu gets a start. They've made those changes, so I want to see how he does. Him against a Bok front row, I think would have been a bit too much. But like to see him, what he does in the start against a Bulls front row that's rotated.
Look, a lot of opportunities for some guys in this game. So I think it'll be a good game to watch.
Same for me. I'm going Bulls by 3.
I'd say, based on the sort of the Bulls being able to win with 14 men, for them, I think their belief has been sort of justified. They continue to grow in confidence. Okay, we're doing the right thing. So, at Loftus, I'd say this game, Bulls to take it, I'd say by 8 this game.
The final game of the weekend, Lions versus Western Province. The Lions are coming into this one with a shovel because we're looking to bury them. We're kicking them while they're down. I see a route. I see us running through these guys. Ross Cronje in, Tian Swanepoel coming in. Tian Swanepoel is impressed off the bench.
Yes.
Like a strong, solid oak.
Yeah, he does, eh?
keen to see him, especially running from fullback into the line. I think he's gonna have a big impact. Up front, the Lions just need to man up. That Bok front row, you just need to man up against them. We saw from Nyakani how he was able to sort of prevent Kitshoff from dominating, and I mean it's normally the other way around. Normally, as a loose head, you're trying to sort of hold on against the tight head, but Kitshoff, he flips the table, that's what makes him such a great player, is that he's getting the tight heads just to try and hold on. So if Dreyer can man up there, it's gonna be pivotal for this game, and I hope he can. For Province, Swiel is in at 10. Willemse moved to 15. Masimla at 9. They've changed around the centers. Dan Duplessis at 12. Nal at 13. Your thoughts? Lions lineup, Western Province lineup.
Look, I have to agree with you. This is at Ellis Park. The Lions, like I said, they're for me, I feel like they're imminent. They're brewing, and there's no better game than this against Western Province to actually man up. If Rondre gets it right from the early scrums, if they are scrums early, that could do well for the overall team confidence. But on the balance of it, for me, the Lions, they should win this game, because Western Province, they don't have the killer punch. The Lions, I think I think they have all the artillery to really put these guys away, you know. And with Gelant out of Western Province being the creative spark for them in recent weeks, I see them struggling somewhat. You know, the interesting matchup is definitely going to be in the centers. I think we'll see Wandisile Semilani testing himself against Ruan now, who I think I rate him pretty highly as a center, as a matter of fact. You know, I think he's very good, solid number 13, a lot of potential to become, you know, to potentially end up, I think he was once in the Springbok training group, but to eventually make a debut at that level. But on the balance, it's going to be a tough game because you've got, you know, a Springbok front row. Your Springbok captain is back. You've got a very dominant lock pairing in JD Schickling and Murat. So again, it's all going to be up front, but Lions will have too much for Western Province in my view, and I think the Lions will take this one by 12.
Yeah, I had Lions by 10. For me, looking at Province, especially in the back line, you've got a situation where you're moving Willemse to play 15. Should he be playing 15? You've got Gelant, which was, you know, it was very unfortunate what happened with him. And now they're changing the centers around. So it's like you've got a situation where it's like, should Willemse maybe be playing 13? Should Nel be playing 15? I'm not sure about the composition of this back line. And I feel like they got it wrong.
Yeah.
And I feel like they're digging themselves further in a hole. I don't
definitely.
It looks like a bit of a mess, this backline. But
yeah, it does.
We'll see how it goes for them. We'll see how it goes. At least Zas is not
on
playing.
The day. Look, I think they heard our cries for weeks, you know, because we haven't seen him for weeks, you know, and I don't think we'll see him again. Hopefully not, you know. I'm happy with Angelo Davids. I'm happy with Sinatla. I'd even back Sinatla. As much as Sinatla hasn't shot the lights out in the 15-man game, I'd rather pick him over Zas any day.
Yeah,
you know, because what you get with Sinatla, you get a lot of work rate, you got a lot of X factor and a lot of effort, you know, and physicality at least, and, you know, potential at the breakdown to get you some turnovers, you know. Zas, yeah, less said about him. That's why he's not on the team sheet.
And that's it from us this week. Any final comments?
Final comments, I'd say, geez, just a quick one. On last week, Argentina against New Zealand, I think it was a bit expected with New Zealand bouncing back, you know, but the scoreline flattered them a bit. You know, I feel like Argentina have got something good going there. But I don't see them doing too well this weekend against Australia, considering, you know, the recent developments this week with, you know, some old tweets resurfacing of the iconic captain.
They clearly weren't loving Poch because that's where they were based. They clearly weren't loving it at the time.
Yeah, something was going on there in Poch. We don't know, or they were being influenced. We don't know. You know, being in Poch, but
they were in Stellenbosch, then they got moved to Poch. So I think they liked it there, not so much here.
You know, so look, all I'm gonna say is on the back of that, you know, after those developments, I really want Australia to put them to the sword, and I think Australia they owe themselves, number one, a comprehensive performance, and they owe the rugby public, you know, in terms of all the potential that they have there. O'Connor's back, those young centers, they just look freaking threatening, dangerous. You know, the pack that they have, you know, they have hard hitters in that pack, good scrummages as well. They have everything in line for them to win, and I think they have the game to really dismantle Argentina from a defensive point of view. So I really want Australia to win this one, you know, and I'll say Australia will.
And that's it for us, guys. Thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe. Unfiltered Rugby Chat. And if I see Matera, I'm going to run him over.
Yeah, I'm going to run him over with my car too. Cheers, Coders.
Cheers.